Good morning. My name is Dr. Maria Sirois. I'm a clinical psychologist and a positive psychologist. And my specialty for the last 3 decades has been the study of resilience. And I wanted to offer you just a very brief understanding of what it might be like to hold a resilient stance in a time of heartbreak, of chaos, of upheaval, of profound frustration and disappointment and uncertainty. There are a number of things that resilient people around the world do, and a few perspectives that they hold. And one of the perspectives that resilient people hold is the perspective that, as hard as this may be, I and we together will find a way through. We may not know exactly what to do today or exactly what's going to make things better for tomorrow, but we have an inner sense of grounding in our own efficacy. And I wanted to suggest 5 things that you could do that will help you stabilize that sense of inner confidence in yourself. The first is to give ourselves permission to feel our feelings. This is the work from Tal Ben-Shahar, who has taught us to give ourselves permission to be human, meaning permission to feel what we feel and think what we think, no matter how difficult or how intense those emotions and those thoughts are. When we try to dampen our emotions and our thoughts, they actually become more pressure-filled within, contributing to greater destabilization. But to allow ourselves to feel what we feel enables our emotions to rise and fall, which is their natural state. They elevate and then they quiet. And as they quiet, other emotions are allowed to make themselves known. So, for example, if I wake up filled with sorrow and grief, if I allow the grief to be expressed, on the other side of that may come a bit of calm or 3% more sense of optimism. Emotions, you see, rise and fall in patterns and waves that enable us to navigate the ups and downs of life. But if we try to suppress them or pretend we're not feeling what we're feeling, it actually contributes to non-resilience, to a sort of inner fragility. The other thing I want to say about permission to be human is that we need to grant that to ourselves. It's a very compassionate stance. I give myself permission to feel what I feel and think what I think and need to respond to the day in the way that I need to respond to the day. And I can grant that to others as well, because as you have noticed, how you are navigating this incredibly stressful time is going to look a little different than the people right next to you. Everybody has their own way to deeper resilience. A second strategy to ground that inner stability within ourselves is to do what we call shape the day. Yes, we're worried about the future, absolutely. But the day is where we have control. We can actually choose how we respond to what is difficult in our lives by shaping the day. Now, in this moment, it may feel absolutely overwhelming, all that you need to deal with. And yet, my invitation is to take just a few minutes, maybe 3 minutes or 5 minutes every day, and shape it in a direction that serves you. There are 3 general pathways of resilience: those things that strengthen us internally, those things that calm us down, and those things that inspire and energize us. And what we need on any one day is going to be different. Monday, I might need to feel quieter, calmer inside in order to navigate the day well. Tuesday, I want to feel a little sense of increasing strength. And by Thursday, I'm ready to feel a little inspiration, a little hope, energy, vitality. So resilient folk take the day that they have been given, as horrific as it may be, and find a way to shape the day in a direction that serves them that day. Even if it's just 3 minutes of remembering a song that calms you down, maybe 2 minutes the next day of doing some sit-ups just to feel a little strength in the body, and maybe watching one video on the 3rd day that lifts your spirit, or reading a story of hope and inspiration. A third practice is to double down on what works. Particularly important for those of us who are grieving losses or anticipating losses. This is the work of Dr. Lucy Hone from New Zealand, who is an expert in the field of resilient grieving. One of the mistakes we make is to think that our way through to a stable stance, a resilient stance, needs to look like that person over there, or we need to take that advice from over there. And the reality is what works for you is unique and particular to you. I, for example, always have benefited from exercise. So I'm a fool if I don't exercise when things are hard. So pay attention. Is this helping me or is this harming me? That's Dr. Hone's frame. If it's helping you, do more of that. If it's harming you, let it go for now. It may be a practice or strategy you'll want to use in the future, but for now, focus more on what works. And for those of you with children around or young ones you're helping to navigate this moment with, ask them directly, what is helping you feel calmer or stronger or more hopeful? And let's do more of that. Fourth, resilient folk do not try to do these moments on our own. It is a myth that resilience rests in sort of pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps and making things happen all by ourselves. You can see I'm starting to clutch my heart here because this teaching point is so important. We all need help and we all deserve support. So a question to actually consider is, who today might hold the greatest wisdom for me? Who today might help provide the greatest care, support, actual physical help and nurturing? And who do I deeply trust? Some days we need help from all three categories, some days just one. But resilient folk over time become better and better and better at asking for help and leaning on others. Not everybody can figure everything out on their own. Number one, wisdom lies often in a circle of support and knowledge around us. We all need help. We all need help getting supplies into our home or knowing where to go or how to quiet the children the next time the sirens ring. The fifth, and this might seem paradoxical, but we know from decades of study now in the field of positive psychology that resilient folk navigate the difficult, the heartbreaking. We feel what we feel. We allow ourselves to face reality as it is, the horror of the moment. And we also consciously pay attention to the good. We seek kindness, gratitude. We allow ourselves to feel wonder when we read a story of an incredible kindness done to a stranger. We notice beauty out in the world and we seek the good within ourselves. We notice the strengths, the kindnesses, the generosities, the virtues of those around us. It costs actually quite little time and effort to pay attention to the good. So a very simple way of doing this is before you close your eyes at night, to simply ask yourself, where did I see the good today? Or what was the best moment of the day? And even in the most excruciating times, we will note that often the good did appear, sometimes within ourselves, sometimes amongst us, and sometimes out in the larger world. These are simple strategies. They may seem a little too easy in a time of war, in a time of profound heartbreak, in a time of absolute terror about the future, and yet they are exactly what sustain us so that we can navigate each day with just that slight sense of increasing stability and confidence within that we will find our way through. My heart is with you. I send you peace.